When I opened the door, the sound echoed. That was the first thing I noticed. Not the emptiness, not the cold, the echo. My footsteps bounced back at me as if the house itself didn't recognize me anymore. I stood in the doorway, keys slipping from my fingers to the floor, staring into a space that felt hollowed out. The living room light flickered on, illuminating nothing. No couch, no rug, no lamp in the corner where warm light used to live after long days. Just walls, bare floors, dust outlines where furniture had been, like ghosts refusing to leave. For a moment, my brain tried to correct the picture. Wrong house. You're exhausted. You took a wrong turn. Then I stepped forward. The kitchen chairs were gone. The table, too. The fridge. Gone. Not unplugged. Gone. Cabinets open, drawers yawning, empty like mouths. I pulled one out completely, my hands shaking. No forks. Not one. I turned slowly, dread creeping up my spine, and that's when I saw it. A single sheet of paper taped to the wall, fluttering beneath the slow rotation of the ceiling fan. 4 words, scrawled in a familiar, careless hand. We need it more. And beneath it, a name. My brother's. I didn't scream. I didn't sink to the floor. Something colder than shock settled over me instead. A calm so deep it felt dangerous. "All right," I said aloud to the empty house. My voice didn't crack. My hands didn't tremble. "All right then." My name is Elaine Morgan, and I live in Wichita, Kansas. I've had the same job for over 2 decades, processing insurance claims in an office where people describe their worst days while pretending they're fine. People there call me reliable, dependable, quiet. They don't know that I learned those traits early. They don't know that when I was 26, life picked me up, split it clean down the center, and said, "Figure it out." That was the year my parents died. Rain on the highway, a semi that hydroplaned, a call at 2:13 a.m. that changed everything. I remember sitting at the kitchen table afterward, staring at 2 untouched mugs of coffee, while my younger brother, Caleb, slumped beside me, knuckles white, eyes empty. He was 16, still had algebra homework, still thought adults always knew what to do. At the funeral, relatives whispered, like the dead could hear them. "I can't take another mouth to feed. He's too difficult. Maybe foster care is best." I stood up before I realized my legs were moving. "He's coming with me," I said. Someone tried to object. I didn't sit down. And just like that, I stopped being a sister and became something harder to define. We rented a cramped apartment with carpet so thin you could feel the concrete beneath it. The heater rattled like it might explode. The walls sweated in summer. I worked one job during the day and another at night. Excel spreadsheets by sunlight, stocking shelves under buzzing fluorescent lights after midnight. Caleb got the bedroom. I slept on a pull-out couch that folded me in half and squeaked every time I turned over. When his shoes wore out, I bought him new ones. When mine did, I duct-taped the soles and hoped no one noticed. On his 18th birthday, I baked a cake from a boxed mix and lit the candles at midnight because that's when I got home. He hugged me hard. "You didn't have to do all this," he said. But even then, some part of me knew the truth. Yes, I did. Because nobody else would. Caleb grew up, technically. College tuition calls came monthly, rent emergencies, car trouble, texts that always began with, I hate to ask, but I never said no. When he graduated, I paid his deposit for a studio apartment. When he met Lena, I helped him buy an engagement ring he chose beyond his means. Their wedding cost more than my yearly salary. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself it was love. Lena was charm, wrapped in entitlement. Sweet voice, watchful eyes, always cataloging what I owned. "That jacket is gorgeous," she'd say. "This purse, oh my God. You should let me borrow that." And then she wouldn't bring it back. First a sweater, then heels, then a handbag I'd saved months for. When I finally asked, gently, she laughed. "Relax, you're so uptight." Caleb backed her every time. "You don't need all that stuff," he said. "You're acting weird." That's when I learned something important. Some people don't steal all at once. They do it gradually. After years of sacrifice, I finally stopped. Renovated my home for myself. Bought new furniture, new appliances, clean lines, fresh paint. For the first time, I had something untouched by guilt. When I offered them my old furniture, Lena scoffed. "We don't want leftovers." A week later, my house was emptied. A neighbor confirmed what my instincts already knew. She had footage, clear. Caleb backing a truck into my driveway, Weena directing, laughing, filming on her phone. They took everything. 3 days passed. On the 4th, I called the police. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I let the law speak where love had failed. They cried when arrested, begged when questioned, called it a misunderstanding. The judge didn't. Probation, restitution, fines, court costs, a permanent record. I watched without satisfaction, only relief. Later, in my lawyer's office, I revisited my will. Everything had always gone to Caleb. Not anymore. I chose myself. When he showed up demanding answers, I gave him one. You stopped being my responsibility the moment you broke into my house. He left angry. I slept peacefully. The furniture returned, the house restored, but something else remained too. Silence. Safe. Earned. A month later, I stood barefoot on a beach thousands of miles away, watching the sun disappear into the ocean. Family isn't blood. It's behavior. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is lock the door and walk forward alone.